Программа «Вечерний эфир». Время теплого общения и размышления о Боге.
Good evening, our listeners, those who watch us on YouTube and Facebook Live. This is Yuri Anishenko, a host on Russian radio. It's in English today. The radio is called The Voice of the Pilgrim. And tonight, you can tell it's in English, we're doing an interview with Tatyana, Min, and Aaron. These two beautiful people are from Thailand. And somehow they ended up here in the U.S. So we're gonna find out why. What are they doing here? What is Tatyana doing here with them? And I heard that she was on a missionary trip in Thailand. And I don't know anything about that. They asked me to interview these people. So I'm genuinely interested in everything. I have a ton of questions. So how are you guys tonight?
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
How's your mood?
Happy.
Happy, good, optimistic. Okay, that's what I like to hear. Tatyana, how are you?
I'm doing great, very happy to be back home to see my family and friends and churches.
Awesome. When did you come back?
We came back mid-August.
Mid-August.
So we've been here for a month already, and
yeah, we all just came back apparently from the missionary conference in Edgewood, or missionary forum, but I didn't see you there. You saw me there, you said. But I totally missed your part on Friday and Saturday. I don't know how, but I missed it. I don't think I missed anybody else. So when did you leave to Thailand? Well, can you share a little bit when you left to Thailand? Why Thailand specifically? I mean, I've been to Ukraine, to different places in Ukraine 3 times, spent 3.5 months in the last little over a year in Ukraine. It was great. I'm considering a different place for my next mission trip. But why Thailand? From everything, my previous business partners, one lives in Singapore, and he goes to Thailand a lot. He sings too, and Thailand is a place where you get all the worldly fun in the world that you can imagine for very, very cheap. I know elderly couples who save up a lot of money for retirement. Well, not a lot, but save money for retirement. Instead of wasting it all here in 5 to 10 years, they pack up and fly to Thailand and live there for 20, 30 years like kings. Apparently, it's very cheap to live a kingly lifestyle.
Yeah,
so
it is.
I never thought of Thailand as a mission field. So can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. I guess I had the same opinion about Thailand, that it was just like a very nice place for a vacation, just beautiful beaches, really nice, delicious food, and very friendly people, and never thought of that as an opportunity to go and serve there until the Congress that was in Minnesota a couple of years ago. We had representatives from Avoda. That's the mission organization that we are from.
In Thailand?
Yes, they are.
Avoda?
Yes, they are in Thailand. And they came over to the Congress to represent the organization. They also took 2 students with them.
These guys?
Those are 2 different.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was just really interesting. Like, I came up to them, just talked to them a little bit, but nothing clicked really. Until my mom, she saw me and one of the Thai girls on the screen together, and then she said, "You're probably going to go on a mission trip to Thailand." And I was like, okay.
That was a prophecy, huh?
That's a good idea. And actually, I've been to Thailand twice. First time it was for a month after my mom told me that we're going on a mission trip. And I went for a month, and actually I never thought I'm coming back. I thought I don't know the language, I don't understand the culture. well, I know Spanish, and I always wanted to go to South America for long term.
Oh, you know Spanish?
Yes, I've been to Mexico on
I'm
mission
jealous.
trips.
What's a white jealousy?
I can teach you some. And well, I came back home not even thinking again of Thailand, praying for God's will for South America, but God was doing something during that time in my heart and my family and just surroundings. And then I've been praying that I would know that it's God's will for me to go if there will be a blessing from church and the family, that the way would be opened. And that's what happened. My family let me go, and the church gave a blessing. And
For how long?
That was for a year.
A year.
Yeah.
You know, I can resonate with that because my very, very first mission trip in my lifetime, I wanted to go a long time ago, since 18, when all our youth was going to Kamchatka with Mikhail Savin.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to go every single year, but never managed. And then last year, in June, I went with a group of, brothers and sisters from our church, and I saw what I was missing in life and the mission. I came home, and 2 weeks later, I took my entire family, we bought tickets right away, and 2 weeks later we flew out. We spent another month and a half in Ukraine.
Oh, wow.
And while I was there with one desire to come back there for at least 6 to 12 months, and maybe even move there to live. And I wanted it so bad. I was like completely focused on that. We were praying about it. Some conditions that we set up for ourselves to see if it's God's will or not didn't work out. Everything fell apart and never happened. I went to Ukraine mission trip again this summer, again with a group from our church. But right now, after this missionary conference, God's leading my heart to a different place. So I can resonate with that. When we set a goal for ourselves where we want to serve, but actually God wants to see us somewhere else.
Yeah, well, God's ways are not our ways, and He has some plan for us. And sometimes He leads us a little bit different direction just to teach us something, to train us, prepare for the task that we need to fulfill. Yeah, so.
Well, the first question that comes to my mind, and probably our listeners and people who watch us, how did you live there for a year? Were you sponsored? I know it's not very expensive to live there, probably, but still, you need money to live there. Were you sponsored? Where did you live? Apartment, house, or some dormitory?
So as I was serving in this organization, Avoda, they have a land where they have church, school, farm, houses for volunteers, and office and houses for children and the actual family of missionaries.
So it's all in one
there.
location.
Yeah,
That's very convenient.
Yeah, it's very big land, and we're all just living there together.
How many acres or hectares?
57.
57 acres?
Yeah.
Wow. It's a lot of land.
Yeah, so, and it's great living together. Sometimes it can be challenging because you're there 24/7, you know. Oftentimes, like missionaries, you can just be in a church, you do your service, and you come back home and you rest and you can be yourself.
What's challenging about living together?
Challenging because you are watched 24/7. We have new children that are coming that they don't know Christ. They don't know anything about Bible. We teach them Bible, and then they just see us doing it, you know, and they want to see our life afterwards.
So it's not challenging because of the relationships with other volunteers or missionaries. It's challenging because you always have people, unchristian people and kids and youth that are coming, always, right?
Yeah, and they see you all the time. They see you when you're tired, when you're upset, when something doesn't work out, but even through that, I would say that it's a big blessing because even when you're weak, you can ask them to pray for you and say, you know, well, even when I'm weak, God is strong. Even if I can do it, He will give me strength and help me through that. So it's a great opportunity to show that this is not by our own strength that we're doing something, but this is God who is doing something, and He's working in us, and we're still not perfect. You know, if we're Christians, we're not so perfect and complete as we also can fall, but the difference is that God forgives us and He helps us to stand up and continue doing things.
Amen. Why did you even, in the first place, decide to go to a missionary trip? Well, I mean, most people don't. So why? Is there a need? Does everybody have to go? Why did you go?
Well, I believe that God has called each specific person for a specific task. You know, in Ephesians 2:10 it says that we're created in God's image, and there are some for good works that He predestined for us even before the creation of the world. So there are some specific plans, specific tasks that we are made for. And I don't think that those people who go are somewhat different, you know, or better than those people who stay, because there is God's work everywhere. Some people have to stay and be here and train, like Sunday school children. Some have to do other ministry here. Some people have to go to Thailand. Some people have to stay in Russia. It's just like different tasks that we don't know, but God somehow moves us around and puts us in different places in His ways. And as His servants, our task is just to be obedient and go.
Yeah, if not everybody has to go, in my opinion, too. Like Paul Washer said, I think that the goal of a Christian life is to for them to go down the pit and pull out the people drowning in it. And some people go down the pit, others hold the rope.
Absolutely.
And everybody gets blisters and bloody hands. It's work for everybody. So I think if somebody dedicates and commits their life to Christ, regardless of what they do, as long as they realize their responsibility to save lives, whether they do it on the front end, whether they do it somewhere in the middle, whether they support those who do it by prayer and financial and worry in their heart, like their heart is over there with the missionaries. God predestined everybody for their own role. Everybody, there's got to be people in each one of those spots.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like the body of Christ, if everybody is an eye, who will be an ear?
Correct.
Where will be the hearing? If everybody is an ear, where is the sight?
Okay, what language do you speak there in Thailand with the kids and everybody who comes?
English. I'm trying to speak Thai, but it doesn't work out.
So, is everybody there speak English?
Yes.
So everybody tries to learn English, and that's like the secondary language?
Yeah, we have evening school and Saturday school. So the
Oh.
student that they learn English.
Wow. So anybody who speaks English can do ministry in Thailand.
Yes.
That's awesome. You don't need to learn a new language. Okay, so Min and Aaron, I'll come back to you again, ask you
Sure.
exactly what you're doing, but how did you end up here in the States? What are you doing here? and then maybe go a little farther back. How did you meet with, what's the ministry name called?
Avoda.
Avoda. How did you come there? Did you receive Christ? Are you Christians? Are you just learning about it? I'm clueless, so let's start with Min.
So I come here to learn new culture. Yeah, and to see other church.
When did you come to the States?
August
Oh, with
14th.
you?
Yeah,
August
with her.
14th. And how long are you going to be staying here?
2 months.
2 months. Total 2 months.
Yes.
So October 14th or around that time you're flying back. It's
Yeah.
awesome. So how did you meet Avoda?
By my aunt, because my aunt married with the owner of the school.
Oh. Oh, okay. I guess that's like a relative now. It wasn't that hard to find them. What about you?
I'm their son.
Oh, okay. So you guys are Christian, right?
Yes.
Were you Christian? When did you receive Christ? When did you get to know Him? Aaron?
I'm born there. My family is Christians.
Oh, you were born into a Christian family.
Yes, exactly.
Same with you?
I moved there when I was 6 years old. So maybe when I'm 7 years old, I received Christ.
Oh, wow. That's very young.
You should ask her story. She has a...
Well, yeah, tell us your story.
Well, you were not just like living there and moving to Avoda where you were born, like a little bit of your background.
So I was born in prison.
Oh,
Yep.
wow.
My mom and my dad sell drugs, and both of them are there.
Wow. To this day?
My dad's still there, but my mom just come out last year.
How old are you now?
17.
Wow. Wow. That's a long time to be in prison. Okay. Go on.
Yep. So then my aunt take me out, and then I live with my grandma, and then when I was 6 years old, I moved.
So, I guess it's a completely different country, different culture, but how can you get pregnant in prison and be born in prison and live in prison? You lived in prison until, for some time, right, when you were born?
For 14 days.
Oh, 14 days, then you were taken out.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I heard in Mexico, there's prisons where, like, the entire families live. They actually live there. It's like a town, but it's all with barbed wire and security and guards and everything. But actually, families live there. So I was wondering if that's something similar in Thailand. Wow, that's quite a story. So and then your aunt took you out, and then you were growing up with her.
Yeah, I grown up with my grandmother.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then your aunt is married to the owner of school?
Yes.
Okay. And then you started going there?
Yeah. I lived there for 10 years.
In the school?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a school where you can live.
Yes.
So it's very different to United States.
Yeah, well, we have a couple of projects. So this main project where we have this 57-acre, we do have a school and a church and the houses where volunteers live, and we also have children who live with us permanently who cannot stay with their families.
Okay, so it's like детский приют or...
Yes. Some of them still have families, but they cannot support them or they don't want them. We have children who would call and say, like, hey, my mom doesn't want me, my dad doesn't need me, I don't know where, like, I have no place to stay, can I come and stay with you?
Wow, how many kids are there on that property?
So on the property for a moment we have 20. We could have more, we just, we don't have enough people who would be able to take care of that. If we would have more full-time missionaries who would stay there, that we can expand and have more children. So,
Are you planning to go back?
yes.
Really?
Yeah, October 15th, we're flying back.
Oh, you're flying back again?
Yes.
For how long?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Do you need a special visa to go there?
Yeah, I do have, I'm going to make a 1-year visa for now, but I can extend it.
Without flying back, or you have to fly back?
I can extend just in the next country like Laos or Malaysia.
You're pretty much committed to serve in Thailand.
As long as God is calling me there, I want to be there.
So your heart is in Thailand. Wow. What's your story, Aaron? How did you... Well, I know you were born into a Christian family, but we have a lot of people that were born into a Christian family, and they're either in prison, they're either in drugs, alcoholics, or just not Christian, don't go to church. We have people that go to church sometimes, Christian kids, well, kids of Christian parents that go to church sometimes, but they don't know God. So what is your story?
How come I become a
Yeah, how did you
believer?
become a Christian, a believer?
I have okay, so there's one night I was just laying on my bed and playing on my phone, and then my big brother come up to me and say, hey, stop being on your phone, come on, read your Bible, just at least one verse for tonight before you go to bed. I said, okay, whatever, I will do it. Then I just open up the Bible, I just turn it, and I turn to Revelation 20 verse 15. That it said that if you have no name written on the book of life, you will go to the lake of fire.
Oh, wow.
I said, oops, I don't want to be there. Yep, and it's that day that I received him.
How old were you?
Around 12.
Really?
Yes.
Very interesting. Well, I first prayed a prayer of repentance, or whatever, how did they call that? Around 10 or 11 too. But I thought of myself as well, I'm still a kid, so I was just living the life of a kid of a Christian parents, and I didn't think of it seriously until about 16. And at 16, I don't know if that was rededication or what it was, but that's when I seriously became a believer. So you were about 12,
Yes.
and ever since, what were you doing since then? Like, how did your life change at all? What did you start doing new, or you were living a Christian life before that? Kind of Christian life.
Kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I also do something like should not do, but after that I stopped doing all of those things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so something did change in
Yes.
your life, in your
Yeah.
heart. Awesome.
And he has a story too. Actually, their two stories are connected.
Okay, well, tell me about that.
Okay. We're gonna be a little bit confused.
It's all right. Well, we can
We'll
clarify
straighten
that.
it
Okay,
out.
so before she moved to mine, to Avoda, I have the mom and my dad. Okay, so my mom, she gonna give birth of 5th kid, so we have 4 brother sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and my mom going to give birth to another girl, Amber, and before she give birth, so something wrong, and she died.
Oh, she died.
Yes.
So sorry to hear
Yep,
that.
and because of her, if in Thai culture, if the woman die, the guy is nothing. So like the grandma and grandpa gonna, like they told my dad to go back, get out from here. But
Really?
yes. So that's Thai culture. Yep, and but like because of my mom, she said this land of water is for God. So whatever happened, we're going to stay here in this land. Yep, and then we have many problem. Yeah, but whatever happened, we just turn to the Rome 8:28. Just love God and everything will work out for good. Yeah, and yeah, we still stay until right now.
So how are your two stories connected or mixed?
So
Okay.
my mom died, and then her aunt married to my dad.
Oh. Okay, so now you're relatives.
Yes.
Well, that's awesome. How long ago did he get married to your aunt?
10 years.
Oh, 10 years ago. That's a while. Wow. Well, Tatyana, can you tell us what exactly is going on there in Thailand with Avoda? What exactly are you doing? I understand there's a big property and there's a school. There's houses for volunteers. There's a church. People come over, kids, youth, or older people.
All ages.
All ages. So what does your work consist of, and what is the goal of that ministry?
All right. So Avoda has 4 projects, and it's in a different locations, and each location does their own job. Like we have a project in Tak where we stay. It's a central Thailand, and we have children living with us. We train and disciple them. So afterwards, after they can speak English, they're trained to be disciples and tent makers. So after
Tent makers.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so for example, Min is our accountant right now. Being 17 years old, she's already does the accounting for the organization. And
Wow, good job.
yeah, and Aaron is working in construction, has his own farm.
Really? I do construction too. That's my profession.
Yeah, maybe we can arrange that. He'll come and help out. Maybe you'll learn something from him, he'll learn something from you.
Yeah, maybe.
So we at that organization, at that location, we train the children. So afterwards, as they grow up, they can go out and be ministering in their own place. So not all the Thai people accept gospel from foreigners. Some of them think of them as just like white people coming over, getting paid to change their religion, their culture. And when they hear the gospel from their own people, this is what really touches their heart, because this is
Really?
because they grew up in the same culture. They grew up. Some people had to resign from their family, from their friends, to become Christians, and this is what makes them different. So they want to hear those stories more. So this is what we're really working on, to raise up that generation of young people who would go and serve.
Who would go back to those towns and villages and sort of live there and serve and preach the word?
Yes.
What religion is in Thailand? National religion?
Buddhist.
Buddhist, just like in China and Singapore and all those Asian countries?
Yeah. Christianity is less than 1% at the moment.
Among Thai people. Okay. Are there any? Can you share some success stories, some interesting stories, and maybe some challenges?
Well, which one to choose? Well, one of my favorite ones. Well, if we can take Min's aunt and, well, now Aaron's mom. She when she was a child, they were missionaries in her little tribe. Well, she's from a tribe, Mian tribe, up north.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of area of Golden Triangle?
Area of?
Golden Triangle?
No, I heard triangular something where everything disappears.
Bermuda?
Bermuda, yeah.
Well, many things disappear there. Yeah, people as well. But anyway, that's the border of 3 countries, Laos, Burma, and Thailand. And it's second after Afghanistan place of like drug trafficking and human trafficking, yeah. So that tribe lives next to that place, and well, this is where Min is from. And so when she accepted Christ, and her family were against that, they didn't want her, so she had to move out, and she was working in the capital city, studying, working.
I'll interrupt. How old were you when you had to move out?
6 years old.
6 years old?
Yeah.
So you made a decision to follow Christ, and although your family didn't like the decision, you were willing to stick with Christ and even move out.
At that time, my grandma already received Christ.
Okay, so she took you with her.
Her aunt.
Her aunt.
Yeah.
Her aunt. She took you with her. Yeah, because here people receive Christ, it doesn't cost them anything.
Yeah.
So it's like everybody receives Christ. We've been doing sharing the word with people here in downtown on bus plaza, just walking around different times of year during Christmas and other times, and everybody is born again Christian, and it doesn't cost them anything to call themselves Christians. But I guess there in a Buddhist country, it's a serious claim.
It is. Oh, well, there's no persecution on the government level, but as for like in just socium, it's people,
relatives.
Yeah,
friends.
family and relatives. This is the biggest obstacle, because Buddhism is like a part of their everyday life. They have to go to temple at certain festivals and do some rituals together as a family. And if you don't do that, you don't respect your family. And family plays one of the most important roles in Thai society. So this is what makes it hard. But anyway, and after that, Lady Min's aunt, she received Christ, and after some time, her father, though he was so against, he was a chief of a tribe.
Oh.
He accepted Christ as well,
Really?
and then
wow.
And then the whole family, and he was going and telling the whole tribe about it. And right now, his son of that chief. They went a couple of years ago. They went to the jungles. They just got some bamboo from there and built a church, and he's a pastor there. And it's beautiful to see people coming. So first it started as a children ministry. They were invited children for English lessons, and then they also had a football ministry when they invited boys to play football with them, soccer with them, and after that the whole team would come to church. And now also older generation, like grandmas, are coming. So it's beautiful to see all generations in church together, coming and praising God and seeing one of their people, the change in one of their people's life.
That's wonderful. So, did you go to any missionary trip before you went to Thailand for a month?
Yeah, it was Ukraine. Yeah, it was like 2-3 weeks, a month, and Mexico as well.
So you did go there. Well, did your paradigm change when you first went to missionary trip, your very first missionary trip, and did it change when you first went to Thailand? Did it change again? Well, the reason I'm asking is because a couple of years ago, God has been working with me, and a few years ago, my paradigm has shifted. Started seeing things differently, but I never really served God like somewhere, all day long, right? Like on a missionary trip. And then about 8 or 9 months after, I went to my very first missionary trip, and I had, I changed my mind about many things, and so like, especially when I saw how poor people, Christian brothers and sisters live in other places, and I'm not even talking about non-Christian. Then I thought about, well, why was there such a massive immigration to the States where people live a very comfortable lifestyle, pretty much in luxury. Many people live in luxury, and if you ask Aaron and Min, they'll probably say everybody lives in luxury here, compared to what I saw in this video, in the short video, or what I know about what I've seen personally in Ukraine, know about Thailand, especially Africa. There's brothers and sisters all around the world, and that live very poor, very poor. They eat certain foods, most foods that we can afford and eat, they can't even dream about. So I was asking myself, why? Does God love us more? Because it's not fair. Those are His children, and we are His children. And I came to an understanding that the reason we live here is because it's not so that we live in luxury for ourselves and maybe give $100, $200 here and there to somebody and kind of calm down our conscience, but so that we do not churn попечение плоти не прощайте похоти. Apostle Paul говорил, do not turn our taking care of our body and everything into pleasing ourselves, into just pleasure and luxury. So live a normal life, not very fancy, and the money that we're all able to make here, use it for God's glory. That's my understanding of why we live here. So that's what changed when I went to a mission trip. I've seen it in the gospel reading, and then, it never made sense, the way we live, and reading the Bible, it's like, it just doesn't make sense. There's something wrong. And then my paradigm shifted completely when I went to my first missionary trip. So that's why I'm asking if it changed, and what do you think about everything that's going on here in the States?
Well, I completely agree with you that we're blessed to be a blessing. This is what this phrase really stuck with me, that if we get something, it's not just to get our comfort level better, to have a better life, better car, better house, but we can help more people. And moving there, I learned that you really don't need much to live a life and be happy. Basically, I guess 2 things that are the most important for any person is just to love God and love others. That's it, And if you do those 2 commandments, and it doesn't matter. Like, I live in a mud house. Well, I've been living in a mud house for this year, and like, we do have some creatures like scorpions, snakes around, and yeah,
wow.
well, we have cows and chickens walking around in the territory, and like, everything is open. Like, kitchen is open, so like sometimes when it's like rainy season, it gets dirty or something, So some people come and say like, ew, like, I wouldn't be able to live in such a conditions, but for some reason, it doesn't really matter. When you have the peace and joy in your heart, when you know that you're in the center of God's will, it just, like, everything else fades away as soon as you get right relationship with Jesus and you have right relationship with people. This is all that matters.
When I was flying back from Ukraine last year, coming back from the second trip with my family, from the very first trip I was flying home, I was depressed. Second trip flying home, I was depressed. This time flying home, I was depressed. Not depressed like depressed, but like I didn't know why I'm coming back. What am I going to be doing here? So the happiness and personal satisfaction, this joy where we lived, what we ate wasn't nearly as good or comfortable as here in the States, but the joy and fulfillment that one has, I never experienced anything like that here in any situation. I have a very happy marriage, and I'm very, very happy with my wife. But that is different kind of happiness. It's different kind of joy. So a question to you: if somebody told you that you're not able to go back to a missionary trip, would you be sad or happy?
Well, I wouldn't know what to do with my life. Really, when I'm coming back...
So you want to come back to scorpions and snakes and mud and everything, and you want to live a lifestyle like that?
I want to come back to the people, and I see the need there, and I want to be there where there's a need.
So you don't really pay attention to the surrounding and circumstances because your goal is not comfort or a certain lifestyle. Your goal is bring people to Christ.
Yes.
Praise the Lord.
Praise God. And I completely understand how you said that you are you would be depressed if someone would not let you do it, because I don't know, I just can't imagine my life anymore. Actually, today when we were driving, Aaron asked me, like, what would you do if you would not be able to go back to Thailand? And I was just like, I can't even imagine. Like, it just doesn't make sense what I'm gonna do. Like, there's certainly a lot of things to do here, but when, I don't know, your heart is there and there is a need there, you just want to be there.
I think I'm talking to people all the time, obviously, and a lot of people want to live a certain lifestyle, want to run a business, want to have a good career, a great education, make a lot of money, and they say, well, we will use some of that to serve the Lord. So I'll be running a business to serve the Lord. But then they live a very comfortable lifestyle, and I think the reason they have that kind of mindset is because they never went to a mission trip. Pretty much everybody that I know who went to a mission trip, well, most everybody, their experience is completely different than they expected, and they come back a changed person. Of course, if they stay here for some time, get back into all the work and school and family, all the business that's around us, it kind of fades away. But when they just come back, they all want to go back because of what they experienced there, and especially when we know what's prepared for us in eternal life, all the riches, all the glory. Jesus said, sell everything you have, give it to the poor, and gather yourself treasures that do not fade away, do not get destroyed. Nobody can steal that, and I think people just don't get it. That's why the more as time goes by, the more I do not understand Christian people anymore. Well, most Christian people. So I don't know where I was going with this, but I think we're just having a conversation. Well, what else interesting can you share about Thailand?
What can we share? That we need a lot of prayer.
Do you need more missionaries, and why? What would they be doing? Let's say somebody listening today, they decide, well, I want to go there for a couple of weeks. Is there a point to go there for a couple of weeks or a month, or somebody needs to go there for a longer time because that's what Thailand needs?
Sometimes it starts with just a couple of weeks, and then you understand, to see the picture, to realize what's going on. What I would encourage people just to pray about it and just find the task that they need to do. It's like, well, I would be very happy if everybody comes to Thailand and sees and how it works and just visits us there. But definitely, there's always work. Like, as I say, we have 4 projects. We have School for Refugee Children from Burma. Actually, we visited a Burmese church here in Spokane. It was so exciting. Mostly all of them were living in Thailand in a refugee camp. So
refugees from where?
From Myanmar or Burma. That's
a different country than Thailand?
Yeah, it's a bordering country, and there's still a civil war there for around 70 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
70 years. Is there anybody left to fight? They haven't killed everybody yet.
I don't know, but still we work with a lot of Burmese people. Yeah, and it's a huge need in that. And the people from the tribes in that Golden Triangle area, it just, there's a lot of need. But I would want to share that I never experienced like spiritual, feeling the spiritual world before I came there. It's like there they worship spirits. They have spirit houses that they bring sacrifices every day just to make sure spirits don't harm them. It's a very cool thing about your names as well. You want to share that you have like two names, the name and the nickname?
What was so interested about it?
Well, for me it was interesting because like Min's real name is Cyrilek, but she has a nickname Mint. And how we were told that most white people have like usually we have like Tatyana, Tanya. It's like the same thing, just like shortened version. It's not a shortened version, it's a completely different thing because they just don't want the spirit to know the real name of a person so they cannot harm them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we were passing by one of the temples once, and they were like bringing sacrifice there, and you feel there's something. It's just, you cannot explain it, and it's like, wow, it's so real. It's so much more real than I realized.
It's probably not nearly as bad as it is in Thailand, but the very first trip that we went to, we were at a village doing a kids and teens and youth camp, and it's only like, I don't know, maybe 1,500 people total, if I'm not mistaken, and there's 47 or 48 official witches in that village. Just everybody knows those people are witches. And we felt it. It was very difficult. The last mission trip last year, we went to Ahtirka, and that's a very difficult city. It's 50,000 people, and very difficult city to work with. And I noticed how I would just get agitated from nothing. Like it was so hard psychologically to be there. Like the devil was trying to take everybody off, but with just everything that's going on around, and several times I had to just get out and find some quiet place and just pray and calm down. And but I know what you're talking about when you feel the spiritual warfare, when the devil really doesn't want anything good to happen, and he does everything to prevent it too. Yeah.
So, but it's a good sign. That means that we're on the right track. If our enemy's trying to be in a fight with us, that means that we're trying to get in his territory, and he doesn't want to
absolutely
let those people go. So,
well, so I guess a call that I want to make to our listeners, everybody who watches us on Facebook and YouTube, is Thailand needs missionaries, and that ministry is not the only one in Thailand, right? There's other ministries. Okay, yeah. So, man, from this missionary conference, what I understood is every country needs missionaries.
Absolutely.
And we're just sitting here and living for a pleasure, setting up our lifestyles, trying to achieve different goals, while the world is perishing. There's billions of people that don't know Christ, and they're perishing, and most of us aren't doing much at all about it. So the call to everybody is pray about it. Maybe God wants you to go somewhere. Maybe God wants you to hold the rope in a special way. But I firmly believe that every Christian can at least sacrifice some finances for people that go there to feed the hungry, and which is the most important, everybody can do it. Even the poorest ones out of us is dedicate a certain amount of time every single day to pray for different countries, for different missionaries, for specific missionaries. Everybody can pray. I talked to a guy not too long ago, and he said he has a list of people that he prays for every day, different missionaries, unchristian people, his classmates. He's already over 50. He prays for everybody. It takes him a while, over an hour every day, but that's those cups that we read in Revelations about, that are filled with prayers. Until they're filled, for some reason God doesn't move. Things don't happen until the cups are filled with prayers of the saints. So prayer is very important. So the call to everybody, at least pray. Dedicate some time. Yes, it's work, but you gotta hold the rope in some way.
Amen. And if someone is interested, they would be able to contact me through Facebook or email. And we do have this little ministry that we want to start, that just send out one child to a family so the whole family can pray for them. because those children, they don't have anyone who would pray for them. Yet we as teachers would pray for them, but the more prayers, the more protection they would get.
What do you mean send one child?
We can send the information about a child.
Information about a child.
We can send the information about the child, so the family can
How can
pray for
get
them.
get in contact with you?
Facebook would work. Tanya Kudlaeva, or our organization Facebook is Avoda Foundation.
Avoda Foundation on Facebook.
Yes.
It's AVODA.
Yeah, that's right.
Avoda Foundation. And then get a hold of somebody there, write a message, I assume,
Yeah.
and ask whatever they want to ask, if they want to join you in ministry, if they want to pray for certain kids, if they want to help with finances.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
also like donation button right there on the on our Facebook page. So if someone is willing to support children, then yes, sometimes it takes like a little over $1 a day to support a child, especially in our refugee school in Mesot, the one that we work with Burmese refugees. So it seems like nothing, but actually can change the whole entire life of one
Wow.
human being.
Min and Aaron, what is your what do you think about American culture, American Christianity? What is your? Let us start with Min. What kind of impression did you get from Christians here? Be honest. Are they spoiled? Are they holy? Are they dedicated?
I think they are kind, very friendly.
Kind and friendly. Well, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good. Aaron, what about you?
I think they're cool.
Cool.
Like they always like have a youth and went out spending time together. Yeah, I like it like that.
Did you see any difference between Thai Christians and American Christians? Did you see any disconnect? Anything that should be done differently, fixed, or vice versa?
Like for Thai, I think for Thai they don't really spending time with each other. Yeah, but I
Okay, so
Like
like
it
how
here.
in America they have communities and
Yes.
youth services and things like that. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Did you have a culture shock here, or you knew a lot about U.S. before you came here?
I guess so.
Okay. Well, it's information age. You can look. People usually don't get a culture shock anymore when they go to different countries.
That's true. I guess the biggest difference for you guys were that we don't, like our church, we don't have like youth and we don't have teens, just one little community, and people we all live together, we see each other all the time, and we don't have those special events, so it's mostly that we work, serve, and it's great just to have the people of your own age to spend time with and to do something together.
It is a blessing for youth services and everything, but when it gets too separated, then it's not good.
I agree with you. That's
because
right.
they're in some churches the youth is always against the older people, and the older people always judge the youth, and there's a big disconnect, and then a bunch of youth take off, open up a young church, and it's very liberal, and so it still has to be connected quite
Absolutely,
a bit.
completely agree with you. Yeah, we all need each other. The older generation, the children, like a family.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for this, for your time. For me, it was very interesting. And maybe I should go to Thailand for a little bit and see how. I was actually planning to go to Thailand a couple of years ago for a business trip. That's all I knew about Thailand. It's fun and cheap, and cheap food, cheap, expensive houses you can rent for very cheap. So yeah, but I don't know. We'll see.
Well, you're always welcome to come and visit us and stay with us and serve as well.
How much does it cost to go to Thailand?
A flight?
Flight.
It depends on when you buy it, so it's from $500 to $1,000
Oh,
round
really?
trip.
And you need a visa to go there.
As American, I think you can go for 60 days or 30 or 60 days without visa.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a privilege to having an American passport, huh?
That's true.
Okay, awesome. Well, again, thank you very much for your time. I think it was exciting for everybody to hear, and God bless you in your ministry. And for you, Min and Aaron, I really wish you guys take the ministry very seriously and dedicate your life to Christ, to serving Him. Like Tanya and I experienced that's the biggest joy you can have in life, is when you dedicate. I don't know we didn't have enough time for me to ask you what exactly you do there, but I assume you guys serve as well and live there and serve. Yeah. So yeah, that's the best lifestyle in my opinion. Okay, so God bless you in your ministry and.
Программа «Вечерний эфир». Время теплого общения и размышления о Боге.